is the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. Guys, listen, I'm your host, Melvin Casey Laws, and as always, it's a pleasure having you here with us. And you are in for a treat. We have with us today Dr. Aubra J. Gantt, the Chancellor of Southern University Shreveport. And as you guys know, we've already told you, the title is From the Beginning to the End and all points in between. Her college career started at Southern University Shreveport, and she's now the Chancellor and first woman Chancellor to be on that campus, and I think probably in the Southern system. So guys, listen, I have a whole litany of things here on this paper, but I am going to switch up a little bit here, Dr. Gantt, and ask you if you'll kind of walk us through that and just kind of share with us that educational process and how you actually went from point A to point B.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Lars, and thank you for having me as your guest on your program today. I'm really excited about this opportunity and always honored and humbled to be able to share just a synopsis of my story. You mentioned I got my start at Southern University, but I like to tell people that I'm a graduate of Green Oaks High School. Green Oaks High School is really in the shadows of Southern University at Shreveport, and that's where I got my first experience of Southern University Shreveport in higher education when I was a senior at Green Oaks High School. I got started, I graduated, I tell people I'm a three-peat. I graduated from SUSLA, Southern University, Baton Rouge, as well as Southern University in New Orleans, and furthered my education at the University of North Texas. I also started my educational journey here. I was a student, but also my career in higher education, rather, started here at Southern University as a counselor, promoted from counselor to director of TRIO programs, and then University Registrar, Director of Admissions and Recruitment. And I really enjoyed the opportunity of being back home, being able to serve my community. And at that time, I really thought I had arrived, I was living the dream, if you ask me, because I was back home in my community, giving back to the institution that gave so much to me, but then also serving the students in my community. But I realized that it was something more for me to do. Got recruited actually to Texas and spent 18 years in Texas in enrollment management. I was able to be founding vice president of an online campus, the only one in the state of Texas at a 2-year college. And I was able to travel around the world, really just kind of talking about higher education and being innovative and creative. And from there, I was recruited to Maricopa, one of the largest community college systems in the country in Arizona. But all along, I knew I wanted to come back home. It was in my heart to come back to my community and be able to give back on a larger scale. So when people ask me now, how is it being home? I am really at a place where I believe I'm supposed to be. I'm honored every day to walk on this campus and make a difference in the lives of the students we serve, faculty, staff, and the community at large.
Wow, that's very powerful. Dr. Gantt, I hope that our audience, and when you see me looking up like this, I'm looking at my other monitor, but I hope our audience, and well, I see that they do because the thumbs and hearts are going up, understand the impact of this story and the things that you're sharing. Obviously, as you mentioned, graduated from Green Oaks. You see another handsome young man who's one of my favorite persons. I probably shouldn't say that, but he is. Mr. Patrick Stewart has joined us also to come in and support you. And, all of us know, with me having been a faculty member there, football coach, et cetera, know the challenges of the MLK area. All of us know, unfortunately, the negative connotations that people try to place on you. And I'm looking at two of the most gracious and beautiful individuals that has gone through that process. And now you sit at the top of the academic movement there in the MLK area. So as you're sharing, being happy about being home and being able to coalesce with your friends, family, and people that you know, when you were getting this experience in other areas, did you notice many similarities in the communities or in the students that were coming to you for your assistance?
Oh, of course, that is a great question. When I left Southern University, Shreveport and transferred to Texas, I worked at PWIs for the most part. And so the students that I saw coming through those doors, they were just like the students that I saw at Southern University Shreveport. Oftentimes people think that students are so different, but they're not. I worked at a community college. The students that I served, they were ill prepared for college for the most part. Many of those students came from the same or similar backgrounds. They had some of the same needs as the students that I serve today, that I'm so blessed to be able to serve today. And I realized that, but I was in an environment where the culture was to make sure that those students entered the doors, we retained them, and we graduated those students. And there were strategies and programs in place to ensure that. But to answer your question, many of those students looked like, they had some of the same challenges, some of them looked different, and some of them looked the same. It is about the individuals, I believe, who are fortunate to sit in the seat that I sit in to make sure that our students have what they need to be successful. And I know that that contributes to my success. There were people here at this institution who cared about me. People at my high school, I always go back to Green Oaks because that was a foundation for me. But there were people here on this college campus that cared about my success, and that helped me. It was a good foundation, and it's my responsibility to do the same. The other piece is just one of the things in community colleges that's so important is that we prepare students for the workforce. Students who come to us for a two-year degree, oftentimes that's what they are seeking. A two-year degree, they want to fast track, they want to make sure that they get a credential that will prepare them for a global workforce. And that is our responsibility at two-year colleges. And so we have great allied health programs and nursing programs here, as well as engineering. And we're building on that. Our goal is to make sure we have certificates in place so when students graduate, even with a certificate, that they could find a job to help with upward mobility in their families and in our community. And so we talk about some of the things that I saw in other roles. And I know we were talking about students, but one of the things I noticed is that we made sure that we looked at the workforce and we provided students in our community. And these were some of the communities that looked just like mine, even though I was at PWI, but you always have certain campuses that's housed in certain communities. And I always gravitated to communities where there was the greatest need. And so one of the things we were able to do in Texas, we started with building workforce training centers. And we really noticed that that was a movement where people in the inner city were able to even walk to school and get a certificate. And we call them stackable credentialing, where you get a certificate. But if we could help individuals in our community understand that they could get a certificate, then hopefully and I'm talking about a certificate that may be 12 weeks, but from 12 weeks to an associate degree, and you're stacking on top of that to a bachelor's and maybe even a master's. But even with their certificate, they get a job. So when I entered this role, I came in the position with the mindset of, what am I going to do to expand workforce? What will I do for my community as it relates to upward mobility? And so Newton Smith Elementary, and so I'm probably going a little bit, I hope I'm not answering all your questions ahead of time, but Newton Smith Elementary sits right next door to us. And I know Mr. Stewart is on the call, so he's very familiar with this community. And when I came, we were in space, and that space was there. And so I started looking at it, and we wrote a proposal to Caddo Parish schools, because they're talking of closing schools and those type things. But I'm looking at what can we do here in this community. If we're going to close the school, we want to have another plan for our students in our community. And so we wrote a proposal to to the school board, Caddo Parish School Board. They unanimously accepted our proposal to build a workforce training center on that land. And if you remember, and I know being the historian, know a lot about this information, Mr. Newton Smith wanted that land to be used for educational purposes only. He wanted to make sure that we use that land. So in honoring his request, we will name that school Newton Smith Workforce Solutions Training Center. And so the goal is to demolish Newton Smith, and build a workforce training center on that land. And that is something that we are really excited about. We were able to get additional dollars from the state to expand that effort. And so our students, the students that I saw in other places, yes, they look the same, but when we built a workforce training center, it wasn't only the student, it was parents and grandparents coming back to school. And that is what I'm hoping and praying for, that this facility, this new school next door to us, when we start building, that it's going to be more upward mobility in our community for the citizens of this area, but not only this area. We're going to be known throughout Northwest Louisiana for training individuals for a global workforce.
Wow, that is wow. You know, all I can say is continue to say wow as I ask this next question, because when we talk about communities and when we talk about communities that are disparaged by those that have no clue of the actual culture of a community, only what they hear and what they see, and what you've just shared with us is about the rich culture and the rich growth and understanding and again, academic prowess that goes with that. So as you were moving around, and I'm asking you this specifically because I want to help, excuse me, dismiss some of the negative myths that are still hanging out there about the MLK area, because people refuse to accept the fact of the things you've just said. So as you were moving around and we talk about Texas, I know you've been to Phoenix, Arizona, and other places of that nature. Was there difficulty with individuals, adults sometimes more than the youth and young adults, understanding the importance of changing a culture of the holistic setting to get to where you're trying to go, which is what you're saying right now about the Newton Smith Center?
Yeah, you know, culture is one of those things that's challenging to change. And a lot of it begins with mindset. And I like to say that there are individuals that don't always have that growth mindset. So we see things just the way they are versus the way that we know things can be. I'm a very optimistic person. You can say no to me, but that just says, you know, maybe I need to take another route to get to where I'm trying to go. I believe perhaps because of my background and where I've been blessed to get to, I believe in students. And I believe that if students are given the appropriate resources, they can be successful. And resources are also the appropriate people that are in their lives that believe in them. They can be successful. There's too many stories out there. I mean, we're just talking about me and where I've been able to go, but if we look at the MLK area, there's a lot of success that have come out of the MLK area. You know, people say nothing good perhaps will come from the Cooper Road, as my citizens would call it in my area. That's what we knew. But we know that there's a lot of good, and we want the young people in this community to know that good comes from our community. And that was my purpose of coming back home. I'm just one person, but again, like I said, there are a lot of others that know that. And I saw other students, and again, what I noticed is that they were given the proper resources in order to help them be successful. And sometimes even when we lack resources, somebody spoke into their lives to say, yes, young man, young lady, you can do this. You know, if you stay focused, manage your time, have great study skills, and talk to your professors. You know, you can be successful. Talk to your financial aid director, the admissions person. You can be successful, but we have to speak that into the lives of young people to help them understand that they can be successful.
Absolutely. Listen, you are on fire. These thumbs and hearts and little fires, emojis are going up. You are on fire, because that's what we do on the Nobody Asked Me Guy show, Dr. Gantt. I'll be very honest with you. My entire career has been built on growth and strength and things of that nature. And when I hear you share the information that you share, and I see Patrick sitting here, and hopefully you don't mind him chiming in if he feels so
Not at all.
comfortable doing so. Patrick, Dr. Gantt say she would welcome your comments or whatever. But allow me to say to both of you as we move a little further. I don't want to keep you all day. Is that when I see and may I say, Dr. Aubra Jeanette Gantt and Patrick D. Stewart, et cetera, students that do the things that we know that you're capable of doing anyway. This is the epitome of where we try to carry our community. And I know this is not a political show, but right now we are seeing a lot of this play out in real time with people being disparaging, saying inappropriate things to our women, making remarks that are unfortunately racist in nature and intended to denigrate, intended to embarrass, intended to take away from the progress. So I want to go there to come back to this question. When we talk about progress, and as we talk about moving forward, and you mentioned having the right individuals in place that have the students' interests at heart and those kinds of things, do you find in your works throughout the country, not just where you are now, we don't want people to say, oh, she came on and she was talking about us. That is not the question, guys that are listening and that will listen. My question is to Dr. Gantt, have you found throughout your travels individuals like you and I who are charged with the growth of young people that just didn't get it?
So, of course, because when you work with young people who are ill prepared, I think I understand exactly what you're asking me. It takes hard work, dedication, and effort. And sometimes those young people who are ill prepared are those brown and Black young individuals. And it's a stereotype that's out there already. They don't want to learn. The parents are not concerned. And they can't. Some people just believe they can't. And because it takes a little extra effort, they tend not to want to deal with those students. And whatever reason, I was wired to make sure that I deal with those students. Those are the students that catch my attention, because I believe when they know someone cares, when they know that you're going to hold them accountable, when you give them the resources that they need, they can be successful. There are just some people in our education system that still, stereotype our students. And again, so many times those students that I've been fortunate enough to work with and others who really believed in them, we saw where students made, they entered college, they were in all remedial courses, but because they knew someone cared and because they took advantage of tutorial services that they didn't know they had, because someone helped them navigate the library, someone was advising them properly. They had a mentor and someone who talked to them. All of the mentorship and all of that meant something. And someone who could be candid and say, young lady, young man, I was enrolled in a remedial course as well, and I made it through. But these are the things that I did to help me be successful. So hold your head up, go to class, do what you need to do. And if it's something I can do to help you during this term or semester, come back and see me. So it's about taking accountability and believing in young people. Taking accountability, what I mean about that, being responsible for the people that's in your circle that you can help at the time that you can, to help them reach their dreams and their goals as well. So yes, there are some individuals that just still feel like our students cannot succeed and they won't be successful.
I just wanted us to get this on record, Dr. Gantt, because sadly, we hear so much. Well, it's at home, it's at home, it's at home. And when I was a principal, Dr. Gantt, my teachers would be so angry at me because I would ask them one simple question. If we are all the experts in education and we've all figured out that it's the parents, so that we know that, now what are we going to do about it to help students grow? And so I just kind of want to ask you that question, because too many times I keep hearing people say things like, the kids just can't learn, they can't this, they can't that. Now, speaking of our children, when they come to us and they don't have the academic background, or they may not have the the support coming from home, since everybody want to jump there. What would you recommend to them to do to try to reach some of those goals that they are seeking to reach, even though they don't know how to get there?
Yeah, that's very good. I think mentorship is very important. And we have mentoring programs on our campus. And I think that's key, connecting with someone who could actually help the college student navigate higher education is important. And I believe that, and I understand that, there are some challenges with parents sometimes, but sometimes parents are doing the best they can with what they have. And higher education can be intimidating to parents. And so once a student arrives on the college campus, it's our responsibility, for lack of better words, well, to guide them. I wanted to say to take them under our wing, but to guide them through the educational process. And so we have success coaches in place, academic advisors, counselors, mentors. That's our responsibility. And then faculty members when they're in the classroom. Sometimes students' relationships with faculty members are closer than anyone else on the campus. And so building those strong relationships with students to help them when they are having a difficult time. But we're not in a position in our culture to blame. I think we should really work together. And I know, the African proverb that it takes a village. It takes villages almost in the times that we're in today, to wrap our arms around these young people and help them understand that if they are serious about their education, if they apply themselves, if they're dedicated and determined, committed to what they're doing, that they can be successful. And I think sometimes transparency is so important, that we share our story. And so young people can really believe that they're not the only one that's struggling maybe with some of the challenges that they are outside of the classroom. And they too feel like, hey, well, if this person had these challenges and made it, then maybe I can too. And maybe ask the questions, what did you do to work through those same challenges, and be willing to share that and be transparent, I think will make a difference in the success of the individuals we serve. And I know that, we say the parent, but K through 12, I mean, there's some things we have to start doing early. So as I talked about the Workforce Training Center, I believe in creating a college-going culture. We can't wait till they walk into the college doors. We have to start working with our young people early on. We have, dual enrollment programs, trio programs with Upward Bound, and those programs where we have counselors in the high schools. We start introducing college to students while they're in high school. That has shown in the research to be very successful throughout the country if we start early. We can't, and one of the challenges is just starting once they get to college. That's a disservice. We're being a disservice to them if we wait until they get to college. We should start doing it early. And, we started talking about middle school, but now it's elementary school where we have to start introducing higher education to young people. And that helps promote the success of our young people.
Wow, fantastic. Dr. Gantt, this has been absolutely fantastic, absolutely enriching. And I thank you for being so kind and so gracious to take a few minutes to come over and share with us. And please allow me just to share with you, if you don't mind, about your community. My transition from Green Oaks to Lanier Middle School as a middle school assistant principal, we had a program there called Data Be Positive that I was blessed to write. And everybody kept saying, oh, Lars, you're wasting your time. The parents not going to come. So I want to give props to your community. The cafeteria we had to get more chairs. It was standing room only. And we had 417 young people. And that was 1994, 95. So just before your senior year. So that's why I had to say to you, so my audience won't think that I'm just being nice because I worked at your school and I know your community, is that I know the people in that community, and I know how dedicated they are and how they work with our children. So as children, and people need to understand, and you said it already, people that look like us in hues of skin and that kind of thing have to understand that, yeah, that's work that has to be done, but we are willing to do the work, and many times we may not know. So, and I just want to share that and give some props to your community, because I know that they work really hard and many of the parents are concerned, most if not all, and we know that there are challenges. So again, I know I've asked you a ton of questions, but if you'd like to leave us with a parting word, we'd certainly appreciate it.
Well, I want to just say once again, Mr. Lawrence, thank you so much for thinking enough of me to have me on your program as your guest today. And I really appreciate your comments about our community. We have some great individuals in our community, a lot of support from individuals in our community and who believe in our community. And we are the community college. And so it is our responsibility to wrap our arms around the individuals in our community to make sure that whatever we could provide for them as it relates to any upward mobility, as it relates to just helping them to reach their goals, that's part of our responsibility here at Southern University at Shreveport. And I'm committed, I'm determined to make sure that that happens for our community and beyond. And students who come on our campus and the people who come on our campus, I want them to feel like they belong here just like I do when I enter these doors every day. And so we're in the middle of registration right now and fall registration, and we're doing all we can to recruit, but not only recruit students, we want to retain our students and make sure that they graduate and they're competitive where they can compete in a global workforce. And again, thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. That's why you keep seeing me glancing at the monitor here. So let me just piggyback by saying this. I am saying to all of our young listeners that listen, and Dr. Gantt, we have people from Florida, we have people from California, from Texas, etc. And we're saying you need to come to Southern University Cooper Road. Now, Dr. Gantt corrected me. You need to come to Southern University Cooper Road, and you need to be a part of what Dr. Gantt is doing there, because they're doing some great and wonderful things. So guys, again, this has been the Nobody Asked Me Guy Show. I'm your host, Melvin Casey Lars, and we've had the distinct pleasure of hosting Dr. Aubra Jeanette Gantt.
Dr. Gantt, thank you for all that you're doing up there at SUSLA. I'm excited again. That's why I was actually typing in the comment that I'm excited about SUSLA and how your leadership is carrying them forward, and the Newton Smith Workforce Solutions. That is exciting to hear that that's coming on board. One of the things that I always say is, as far as the 2-year community, and you nailed it, is that 2-year colleges are foundational in themselves, and then we stack that education and stack those certificates. So your leadership and having that community college background is going to play such a huge role for not just Shreveport and Cooper Road, but Northwest and Northeast Louisiana. So I'm excited for you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Stewart. It's great to see you today. And, we have to do this together. We have to do it for our community, so that support means so much to me. And we're looking to do bigger and better things. Our gym is going to be coming up soon. We're working to get that gym back up for students, because we know even through athletics, that's a retention tool as well. But it also expands to our community, where our community sometimes need space to do different things for our students in the summer with camps and those type things as we work to create a college going culture. So thank you so very much for your support and all that you're doing in your career as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, that's the end of this story. Well, it's the beginning of the story, Dr. Gantt, but I'm just saying to my audience, that's the end of this story for today. So guys, have a great day. It's great seeing everybody. Be blessed.
Thank you.